All right, guys, welcome to our Zoom press media briefing. I'm joined by our head coach, Kaitano Tembo. I'm just putting a test by the chat group here because I can't see everyone's hands up. So just indicate your name and we'll play it in that order. All right, coach. Second game since BSC. We're playing Polokwane City tomorrow. Just your thoughts on the game?
Thanks, Brian. Morning, gents. Good morning.
Morning, coach.
The ladies as well.
Yeah.
All right, and the lady.
On the lady. Sorry about that, Musi. I just want to offer my condolences as well on the passing on of Brasbu. What Bra Matlatse just said, that he was a legend. He was a true legend of the game. And may he so rest in eternal peace. Coming to Brian, our second game, I think very important for us, to get going, to get a positive result. I think first game against Celtics, it was a very good game. There were a lot of positives, considering that it was our first game, after probably 4 months. And Celtics as well, it was their second game, and they had about 6 to 7 days to rest. I was quite, happy, with our overall performance, though we lacked, that cutting edge, through probably to, sharpness, especially in the final third. We had, good opportunities, to win the game. I thought we were the better team as well. We got behind their defense a lot of times. We were not that clinical, but we just hope to build on that performance going into to the Polokwane City game.
All right, guys. We'll just take around this press conference for you guys. So questions, please, for the head coach. We'll actually start. It's Women's Month. We'll start off with you while we wait for the chat group to load with questions.
Okay, no problem. Coach, seeing that your first game back in the season, it didn't result in a win. How do you think the remainder of the season is gonna go? Just seeing that most teams have not gotten the rhythm of not of playing again. Also because the games come in every second day. How will you guys cope, with that kind of workload?
Look, we knew that it was not going to be easy, considering the amount of matches which we have to play, and the huge break which we have had. And if you look at us as well, we wanted to have a little bit of continuity in terms of team selection. And at the same time, you still have to bring in, to freshen up, the team in terms of bringing in, more energy, fresh legs. So we cannot, get that, especially, if I look at our performance against Celtics, I wanted to have a little bit of continuity, but we've got 3 players who are already suspended. Like Grant Kekana picked up his 4th yellow card. Onisimo Basera also picked up his 4th yellow card, as well as Sipombule. They are all out. So we've got to move the team around, probably already we have 3 new players in. So that means we've got to start again in terms of team selection. But at the same time, you will have new, fresh legs. So that's how we can always try and balance it. I think after this game, we'll probably have more days to recoup and rest, because we're only playing on the 25th, the next game. So that will give us a little bit of time as well to rest.
Karabo.
Thank you very much. Morning, coach.
Morning, Karabo.
I think on your first game, coach, I saw something totally different in terms of balance. Your centre backs, one right-footed, one left, going to the midfield, 3 one-footed, which is the postman as well as the Umgwen as well as Sipombulu. Coach, that is one of the best balances that you can get in football. Are you happy that you can finally now have a proper balance in terms of the team. Well, obviously for the next game they're out, but it looks like we finally got a sweet balance in terms of, you know, the balance of the team and how they are going to be playing in the future, coach.
Morning, Karabo. I think that's a very, very important, you know, observation. We've had, you know, we've always had, you know, problems, you know, in terms of creating, you know, that balance. We could play, you know, a left centre back and as well as, you know, a right centre back, and in midfield, in the, you know, middle three, Aubrey, you know, coming inside, but is left-footed. Then we have Sipombule on the right, who's right-footed, and as well as Tebza anchoring. And I think Tebza also played, you know, very well, you know, the Dean role, although he has got different qualities as, you know, as Dean. But we want to try and make sure that we use his qualities, you know, to our advantage, because he's a good passer of the ball. He can start, you know, our build-ups, you know, effectively in terms of going forward, finding people in those small spaces where Aubrey and Sipo will be, you know, getting in, and as well as finding that diagonal ball to our wide players, which he did, you know, very well. You know, I think Julie Maziba was very effective. He's one of the players I spoke about, you know, that in the final third, we just lacked that, you know, cutting edge, and he got behind the fullback, you know, each and every time when we went forward. So that's the kind of balance we want to try and build on, you know, going forward. That's why I said I wanted to have a little bit of continuity in terms of that, you know, but we can't, you know, because Sipo is also suspended now.
Thanks, Coach. Any more questions?
Yeah, I'll just jump in. Sorry.
All right, Chedo, go ahead.
Coach.
Hey, Ched, how's it?
I want to ask. I'm okay. How are you?
All right.
Having watched that game on Saturday against Chiefs, obviously seeing how Polokwane City came out of the blocks, was there anything perhaps you learned from that performance? And given that it's their second game, perhaps that game took a bit of the wind out of their sails.
Yeah, knowing also Clinton, you know, he likes to play on transition. You know, he plays on counter-attack. You could see most of the time they were sitting back, you know, waiting for Chiefs to make mistakes, and then they were looking for that ball behind the defense. That's how they scored. I think it was the first goal, if I'm not mistaken, with the Nku. They were always looking for that ball behind the defense, and that's how Clinton, you know, plays. So we will really need, you know, in possession, not to really, you know, risk the ball in, you know, in dangerous areas, because they will drop off, be compact, and just try and make sure that they are narrow, and allowing Ngomezu, Lunku, and Anas going forward, with also Jabu playing between the lines. So those are the areas which we have to be very careful, you know, for us, you know, to be caught on transition, so that we don't risk the ball, you know, in dangerous areas.
Go with Mike and then Mini.
Morning, Coach. There's a possibility of finishing at third position, and finishing third would obviously mean that you have to go back and compete in the Confed Cup. Just maybe when you look at a couple of years ago when you guys played in the continent, you know how the team was after that venture. Just do you think at this stage, do you have a good enough team to compete next year in the Confed Cup? Should you finish in the top three?
Yeah, look, I think with the squad which we have, if I want to look back, if you look at the squad which we had at that time, we had Tusopala, we had Brocky, we had Morgan Gold, we had Tefu Mashanite, and those were players who were already reaching their peak, you know, in terms of, you know, their best, you know, performances. And that's why they pushed us, you know, all the way to get to the final. And when we came back, we struggled a little bit. But if I also look back, I look at players like Jamie Weber, Sipombule, Teboho Mkwena. They made their debuts, you know, in Africa. I remember against El Shandi, that's when Teboho Mkwena played his first game in Africa. as well as Sipombule playing against TP Mazembe. And that's what you need with your young players. Throw them in there. They still have the energy. I think they can be able to double up and play in the league and still play in Africa because they've got the legs. They are still young. And also, it exposes them, into different ways of playing, different conditions, and that's also will build them, mentally, because that's physically, and that's very key for their development. And I would want to go back into Africa, irrespective of what happened, in the previous season. But if we finish third, I'll gladly want, to play in Africa, so that we can expose a lot of our youngsters into those conditions.
Go with Mini.
Morning, Coach. Minet Fella from Newsroom Africa. Going into the resumption of the season, a lot was talked about. The best team with the best fitness would be, have a better chance of going ahead of everybody else. How critical now is it in terms of tactics, substitutions? Because we're seeing that's very, very critical. Bringing in the right player at the right time that will lift the team when it's like they're running out of energy.
Yeah, look, it also goes both ways. It depends. Sometimes when you make changes, especially when you are chasing the game, it's easy for you to use all your substitutes because you're trying to change the game. You're trying to get a result, but at the same time, if you have already had balance, I haven't seen a lot of teams when they're leading, making too many changes, because that also can destabilize your team as well. If things are really going well for you. So it's like us, we made only about 3 changes against Celtics, and the rest of the guys were still going strong, and we feel that physically we are in a better condition, and we want to try and build that, and as well as looking forward to next season, because I think this is also can be part of our preseason. And remember, we only we're starting in October, on the 9th of October, so there's not enough time for us to really have a huge break after the end of this season.
Mahlatsi.
Thanks, Bruno. Coach, maybe some sort of a follow-up to 405. Most teams did say that they were not ready when they went into the bubble. You've played 1 match already now. Where are the guys? Because I think the last time I spoke to you, you said you'll be about 80% before the first match. Where are you now? And what was the sort of the lessons you learned over the past few weeks over the past few days in the bubble, and having played the first match?
Look, I was a little bit worried in terms of match fitness, because it's always key, to play a lot of friendlies. But I think what really helped us is we were playing, 11v11s, for 90 minutes or more after every 2 days, because we knew that we were going to play games after every 3 to 4 days. So match fitness was very key. And on the first day, first game, I was pleased with what I saw, in terms of performance, in terms of attitude towards the game. That's why I said it was going to be easier for us if we had built that, in terms of also creating good combinations, for the team. But now we have to bring in probably 3 to 4 players, new players who haven't, played a game, who are also looking forward to, to start, in this bubble. So it's gonna change the dynamics in terms of, what you will expect, from the players, because we've got about 6 players who already have a game, under their belt, and we've got another 4 who are still to play a game, who are, so it might, it will be difficult to have, that balance. You just hope that you get that on the day of the game.
Tuma?
Morning, Tuma.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
No, I'm well, thanks, coach. It's Mlungelwa Duma from Radio Equazi in KZN.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to check, coach, what kind of a match are you anticipating from a Polokwane City team that is fighting to avoid the relegation? And secondly, coach, your thoughts on Manziba's performance over the weekend?
Firstly, with the Polokwane City, I think when you play against a team whose backs are against the wall, they are a very dangerous team. You saw they gave Chiefs a scare. At the same time, I think it depends on how we start. If we start very well, probably that will be key for us to have a very good start and make sure that because confidence-wise, they're a little bit, shaky, they're panicking. So you need to try and make sure that when you have a good start, you keep them there. But if they have a good start, then they grow in confidence, which might be a huge problem for us. So we don't really know what to expect, but what we want to try and do is make sure that we have a very good start, a very positive start. We play with no fear, and make sure that we take the game to get to them. That's very important for us, tomorrow. And coming into Julie Manziba, I think he had a very good game. Especially with us, we always had, him going forward. He got behind the defender. One-on-one, he was very good as well. He could, take on the defender. And like I said earlier, that in the final ball was not there. That's one area where we've been working on, training to just try and make sure that it makes the right decisions and also choose the better options, in the final third.
Robin?
Coach, just wanted to, I see Clayton Daniel will be back from the suspension, and in terms of the midfield, the coach mentioned that Supermolo will be suspended. Do you have anyone in mind already who's going to take over that position? The replacement for the game tomorrow?
Yeah, also, like you mentioned, Clayton is coming back from suspension, which is also good for the team because he's also one of the most important members of our defense and the team as well in general. So that's good for us, with Grant Kekana suspended. And in midfield, we are a little bit thin at the moment because Jamie Weber is not 100% fit. He's struggling a little bit with an injury. So Jesse Don, he came on against Celtics. So he'll get an opportunity to start the game tomorrow.
Any takers, guys? I'll take the last three. You can go straight ahead. Mahlati can go again. It's fine.
Coach, just maybe a little bit more on Clayton. The importance of his return, his leadership, and also this young boy Jesse Don. What are you seeing in him?
Look, Clayton, he's always been a warrior, in the team. He's very important to us, especially when we are bringing in a lot of young players. He's also part of our spine, so he helps in terms of communication, with the players, helping players like Bradley, Ronwen, in that regard. So he's very important. He's very key, for us, as a team. And with Jesse Don, look, it's an opportunity which I think that is one of the players who've got a great future ahead of him. All he just needs to play with a little bit of no fear. He has to play with a little bit of how can I put it? Because I thought when he came on against Celtics, he did very well, although he was a little bit scared. So I want to start him, so that you give him that opportunity to grow. And I wouldn't want to have a player in the team who I'm scared to play. So I want to see, if I give him that opportunity, is he prepared to, to grab it with both hands, and which I think he is. and he's been doing well as well during lockdown when we were training. He was one of the best performers, during lockdown. So I think he deserves this opportunity.
Take the last two.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Coach, at the beginning of the season, I saw Proba started very well the season, and also sometimes Kaboza. But in the last game against Bloemfontein Celtics, they were not at their best. I see that, Kaboza came in the second half, and then Proba came came off in the 60th minute. What are you expecting from them? Are they still far in terms of the fitness, that you require from them?
Yeah, look, like I said earlier, fitness and form, those are, things which you build, gradually, especially to players like Bradley. You've got to build that, gradually, by playing matches. And I thought he got into good areas, although he just lacked that cutting edge, but still in terms of his overall play, Bradley, it was very good because he could hold the ball and he could allow as well the other players to join in, which is one of his roles, in the team. And I think he also had, 3 shots, if I'm not mistaken. One hit the upright, the other one he turned and he shot it straight at the goalkeeper. The other one was also blocked, which means he still gets into good areas with a little bit of, sharpness here and there. We will start getting the best of, of him, the Bradley which we know. And also Gabuza, we try and use him, sometimes as an impact player, because if you look at the bench, we don't really have, a huge squad. So we also need to have fresh legs on the bench and a little bit of experience as well on the bench, and that's where Gabuza comes in, and probably will get an opportunity to start tomorrow as well.
Duma, you can take the last question. Duma? Okay, we'll take someone else.
Okay, maybe I'll steal it again.
Go ahead.
Coach, I know you were asked earlier about the third position, but having seen your neighbors struggle a bit since the restart, are you perhaps optimistic that even a second place finish is realistic for you guys?
Look, for us at the moment, we've got to take it one game at a time. First game, we drew. So our main focus now is the next game, so that we don't want to try and look way ahead of ourselves. What's key is for us to get our first win, and then we can start, thinking about other things. But we have to try and take it one game at a time. The next game, which is Polokwane City, is very key for us.
All right, members, that concludes our press conference. Thank you so much for attending. We might have another one at the end of the week with a player. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much, guys.
All the best.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anytime, guys. Stay safe, guys.